Tip number 1 is to help foster a growth mindset in your team. You see, guiding your team to adopt a growth mindset is actually going to help them develop 3 other skills that they need in order to find success. When you help your team foster a growth mindset, you're actually helping to develop 3 different skills that are going to help to build their confidence. They're going to make a better connection between growth that they get compared to the amount of work that they put in to grow. Fostering a growth mindset also helps your team see the value in continuously learning and how being someone who wants to constantly learn new things, master new skills, and try out new experiences actually helps propel them forward towards success. And lastly, helping to foster a growth mindset in your team will help them see failure not as the end of their journey, but rather just a bump in the road that is there to teach them a lesson that's going to help them become an even better person in the future. My name is Justin Collar with Thrive Success Services, and helping to foster confidence in your team so that they have a winning mindset in school is one of the most important things you can do to set your team up for success as a parent. As we go through these tips on building your team's confidence to have a positive school mindset, I hope that you stick around to the end because I have a bonus tip that's going to take your team's confidence to a whole nother level. Tip number 2 is to help your team set clear goals. Now, a lot of times when we set our own goals, we think long term. I like to use the example of weight loss. Maybe we want to lose 30 pounds before summer comes, right? That's going to be a long-term goal. When you're helping your teenagers set goals, they think in a much shorter term than we do as adults. So instead of telling them that you expect them to get all A's on the report card this semester, help them break down that big goal into bite-sized pieces. Maybe a goal that lasts just as long as a week. Staying with the theme of grades, that might mean you have an idea as their parent what quiz they have next in math. You could sit down with them and plot out the things that they need to review in order to get an A on that one quiz. For teenagers, looking at something on the short term is much more viable than looking at something across the long term. My third tip applies to parents and students, and that is to maintain a positive attitude. Parents, if the only thing your teen ever hears from you is negative feedback, that's going to damage their self-worth and it's going to inhibit their abilities to achieve to their fullest potential. If you want your student to have a positive mindset, you have to model that for them. One of the ways that you can do this is to look at some of the accomplishments your child has reached. Using the math example again, maybe they did take that test and they got the A. Make sure that you affirm that you are proud of the A that they received. Make sure that you affirm that you're proud of the A that they received, and you point them to the work and the preparation they did in order to get that grade. In the age of social media, sometimes your positive comments are the only positive thing your child hears all day long. Tip number 4 is to help promote a sense of curiosity in your teen. This is especially important for your freshman and your sophomore teenagers. We made it this thing where teenagers are supposed to know exactly what their life path is for the rest of their lives by the time they graduate high school. And if you're anything like me, you know that that's not exactly the case. And if you're anything like me, you know that that doesn't actually hold true most of the time. We jump around doing things that make sense for our family, that give us higher wages, that give us more challenges. It's the same for your teenager. You need to let them explore as many crazy ideas as they have when it comes to jobs and the things that they want to do. This also includes extracurriculars, clubs, and any other activity outside of school. The more your teenager can experience, the better picture of their future they'll be able to develop. Before we move on to the next tip, did you know that it's really important to start having the college conversation with your child as soon as 8th grade? In this day and age, schools are modernizing to where your child can potentially earn high school and or college credits as early as 8th and 9th grade. This completely changes the game when it comes to attending college as a high school student, and it pushes back the steps of getting into college once they graduate. To help you and your teen navigate picking a college, researching a degree plan, and all the other steps it takes to apply, I've developed a college application checklist that will provide you with prompts and ideas to discuss with your teen in the comment section down below that's absolutely free. I hope that you check it out. Okay, so here's tip number 5. You need to teach your teenager to embrace the challenges that come their way. One of the downfalls of many a successful person is they don't anticipate that things are going to get hard. For your student, when they sign up for their challenging courses, when all of their friends are signing up for them as well, it's exciting to say that I'm going to be in this AP course or take this college course or do this new exciting thing in my career and technology program. The first few days may be exciting too when they enter the class, they see their classmate, and they see the tools and the equipment they're going to be able to use in their career classes. But as time goes on, if we don't teach them that things are going to get hard and there's going to be challenges that they need to overcome, they're going to get to a point where they just want to give up. And we want to prevent that for them. So make sure you're having conversation with your teen about what's going on in school and what's going on in their life. And I know that can be hard sometimes because teenagers don't always want to open up, but it's important that you keep that line of communication so that when they do have a challenge they want to talk to you about, you can help them walk through that and help them see that they're not the only person or the first person that's going through that challenge, and they have the skills and the knowledge they need to overcome it. Tip number 6 is to help your teenager regularly seek feedback. As they grow into young adults who are going to go to college or enter the workforce, one of the best things you can do as a parent is teach them to advocate for themselves. Now, I know when something goes awry, we as parents always want to jump in and try to solve their problems for them. That's just what parents do because we love them, right? But instead of immediately jumping in to solve their problem, you should equip them with the knowledge and the skills they need in order to try to solve the problem for themselves first. Maybe they got a really bad grade because they didn't understand the assignment. Help them come up with questions and a time to go talk to their teacher privately one-on-one. Remind them how adults solve problems and help walk them through the steps they need to go through in order to come to a resolution with their teacher. Bonus tip for this one, I always find it's important to remind them to use their manners. Just like when we're frustrated about something, if they're frustrated about something when it comes to their grades or school, some of those rules of etiquette can go out the door. Tip number 7 is to help them practice resilience. Whereas overcoming a challenge is equipping them with the ability to make a plan to make it through the tough times, the idea of resilience is helping them keep their motivation to continue moving through any other future challenge that they have. As adults, we all know that challenges are going to come, and if we don't build up our own resilience, we know that we're not going to last long in the world. The same is for your teen. Help them out by constantly asking them reflective questions about the challenges that they've overcome in the past so that they remember that they do have the skills they need to be successful in life. Tip number 8 is to help them limit comparisons. Parents, I can't stress this enough. Social media and their friends and the trends and everything else going on in their lives is constantly causing them to question their identity, to question who they are, to question if they belong, and to pass judgment on themselves. It's the same for adults, but as your teen swipes through every single social media post, every message that they get, every time they look at those pictures or look at the story or look at the event or read what somebody tells them, they are casting little micro judgments about themselves every single minute of the day. A few of those micro judgments don't weigh us down, but as a teenager, when you have social media mixed with peer pressure, mixed with the stress of school and performance, teenagers quickly become overwhelmed and they can easily start to think poorly of themselves. One way that you can help them build confidence in this area is to remind them of their unique abilities, the talents they bring to the world, and the value that they bring to your family. Number 9 is to help your teenager prioritize self-care. One of the most important things you can do for tip number 9 is to ensure that your teenager is on a healthy sleep schedule. Now, that sleep schedule may still look different than your ideal sleep schedule, but teenagers need an average of 8 to 9 hours in order to function properly for the day. Now, if you go up to your teenager and set a bedtime, they're definitely not going to agree with you on that. But if you have conversations with them about how it affects their health and their overall performance, they may be a little more open to that type of discussion. Tip number 10 is to encourage your teenager to surround themselves with positive supports. Listen, there is no denying that the influences that are speaking into your teenager's life are having an impact on the way that they think and the perception of their own life. Push your teenager to find friends who share their beliefs, who share their values, who share the same sense of success and the desire to make their future better. Because when they have friends who are pouring positivity into their lives every single day, that's going to build them up way more than anything that we as parents can do. You see, teenagers are very social creatures, and they want to make sure that they are in with their friend group. You can also help them out by finding them a mentor. Somebody that you trust and somebody that they trust in order to speak into their lives. The unfortunate fact about teenagers is they don't want to hear anything from their parents. And this is actually developmentally appropriate. So they're pretty far removed from the days of being a toddler who relied on you for everything, and they're trying to figure out this whole life thing on their own. The best part about finding a mentor, though, that most of the time that mentor is going to say the exact same thing that you've told them, but because it didn't come from the parent, your teen is going to think it is the best advice they've ever heard in the entire world. Parents, I hope you found value in this video today. Like, comment, and subscribe, and check out the link in the description below so that you can access your free college checklist. The checklist will provide you with steps to help you and your teen navigate through the process of researching a college, figuring out the best degree program, the admissions process, questions to ask, as well as all the things you need to do in order to apply.